Hi, I'm Phyllis. My website is southernfrugal.com. Today we're going to make a meat pie. We're going to make one of those little half pies. Now this is going to be similar to the meat pies I think they make in Europe, and I know the Canadians have one. I'm not sure, I think they make theirs with pork. It's called, let me think of the name, and I'm probably not saying this right, tourtière or something like that. Anyway, we're going to make one today using a half crust or a half pie, and we're going to make it with some lean hamburger. And this is that lean, organic, grass-fed hamburger. And I just fried out, I usually fry out 4 patties and just freeze them. So I took 2 of those patties, which would be 4 ounces each, or a total of 8 ounces of ground hamburger meat or beef. And so we're going to also use, this is sort of a medium-sized sweet potato because I cooked sweet potatoes this morning, and we're going to use one of them in this pie. And the reason for that is that when we made the acorn squash, remember we cut them in half, and this was from a recipe that a viewer sent in, and we put butter and cinnamon and I think nutmeg on the inside of the acorn squash, and then you could put whatever in there, and at one point I put some hamburger in there and onions and peppers or something. Anyway, I froze part of it, so there would be 2 pieces that I froze, and so it's been frozen for, I don't know, a month or so, maybe 6 weeks, and we took them out yesterday and thawed them out and cooked them, warmed them up in the toaster oven. They were fantastic. I could not believe how good they were. So I thought, well, sweet potatoes are very similar to these different types of squashes, so why not use that? So that's what we're going to do. So I've already got a pie crust thawed out. This is the Pillsbury refrigerator pie crust. So I'm just going to go ahead and take that out. It's been out of the refrigerator for about 30 minutes now, so that should be long enough. Take that all the way out of there. And I've got a little bit of olive oil on my pie pan. This pie pan is the one I'm using all the time now for the half pies that we make. Yeah, y'all, I could not believe how delicious that was. And of course I had taken the acorn squash meat out of the shell and just froze it that way. It was absolutely delicious. I could not believe it. It was actually better after it was frozen than it was when it was freshly baked. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put about half of this sweet potato, and I just baked it, peeled it, and then I just hold it in my hand and cut it up in little pieces so you don't run into all those stringy parts. Mashed it up with my potato masher. So we're just going to spread that out first. I'm going to use about half of it. I'm going to reserve the other half for the top. We want to leave about an inch in there for us to roll up that crust on itself. Yeah, so this is going to be a spiced meat pie. Now, in the past, part of the history of spices is that they were probably using the spices to enhance the taste of meat, mostly because, of course, they didn't have refrigeration in ancient times. And they also used those spices, I think cinnamon was one of them, in perfumes and all kinds of stuff. But they were used in meats, and I think the meat pies that they fix in Europe have a lot of these spices. So what we're going to use is we're going to use a little bit of ground nutmeg. We're going to use some mace. Now the mace comes from the same thing that the nutmeg comes from. but to me the Mace has a little bit of a not stronger, sharper taste. That's the word for it. This is what's used in donuts and cakes and stuff. All right, so what I'm going to do is just sprinkle a little bit of that. Not much, if I get it to come out, on the sweet potato. And I'm going to also use a little bit of the nutmeg, just a teeny bit, if I can get that to come out. There we go. Just a little bit there. And then we're going to use some ground cinnamon. Like that. All right, now we're going to go ahead and put the meat on. And again, this is 2 patties that were 4 ounces each of that super lean hamburger. It's going to make a lot too, but this is again just going to be 2 servings. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of the nutmeg on this and a little more of the cinnamon. Like that. And a little bit of the mace. And we're going to need salt. Now if y'all use pepper, you also need pepper on this. Put a little bit of the salt, because these hamburgers were not salted. And now, I'm going to put on the rest of the sweet potatoes. I sure hope this is not too much for this pie crust. But we're going to make this work. Yeah, y'all, I could not believe how good that meat in the acorn squash was. It was absolutely delicious. In fact, I could have eaten the whole thing myself, but of course we split it, but still, it was really that good. Now let's just go ahead and put some patties of butter on that. Put it right on top. Of course, once it's cooking, that will go down into the hamburger and that sweet potato that was left over. All right. Now I better move that back a little bit. So I've got my oven preheated to 450 degrees, and this is going to cook for probably about 20 minutes. Move that up a little bit. Pull that crust all the way over. And then I'm just going to pinch it together. You want to be careful here, your fingernails don't pierce this crust. And we've already got our vegetables cooked. I went ahead and put those on earlier. So we're going to have corn and the baby green limas with this. See if I can mash that down some now, like that. And again, you want to make sure the edges of the crust are really sealed well. So I usually just turn them over again and pinch them like that. And even at that, sometimes they leak. Yeah, y'all, I just could not believe how good that cinnamon nutmeg made the meat taste. So the word is that they use spices for meat, of course, that wasn't quite maybe as fresh as it should have been, and so the spices would kind of hide the taste of old meat, really. And it worked. And of course we're still doing it, but our meat is pretty fresh. Alright, I think we got that sealed up pretty good. Mash that down a little bit. put some holes in it to let the steam out. And you don't want to poke any holes along the edge of it. Well, let me move this closer so y'all can see better, because then some of the juice will run out and kind of spoil the looks of it. So, all right, y'all. And the reason we have the oven at 450 degrees, because this needs to cook pretty fast to prevent it from cracking. And crust will sometimes crack along here if you cook it at too slow a oven. And even then, sometimes it'll crack, but hopefully this time it won't. I'm very excited to try this because with the acorn squash, it was just out of this world good. Let's see if I can move this back some. Yeah, like that. There we go. All right, and again, I put a little bit of olive oil on the bottom. This probably wouldn't stick, but I just always like to do it to make 100% sure it's not going to stick. All right, so let me get our plates out because this will be done in about 20 minutes. And I think I might fix this a little salad too. All right, y'all, we'll be back. All right, y'all, I just took this out of the oven. It smells really, really good. Very similar to the acorn squash that had the hamburger in it. I didn't put any onions or peppers in it, but you could definitely do that. All right, we're going to let this cool just a little bit. I've already got our tea ready. Decided against a salad and decided to slice some of those little crunchy cucumbers. All right, y'all, we'll be back when this gets cool just a little bit. I'm going to cut it in two using my pizza cutter. That just works better to go right down the middle. All right, we'll be back. All right, y'all, there's the pie right there. And we're having the baby green limas and corn. Those were both frozen. And we're having one of those little, they call them little crispies, I think. Those little cucumbers, they are real crisp too. And there's the dessert. It's crushed pineapple with some of those organic bananas. And I went ahead and put some of the cherries in Mr. Bucky's. And of course we've got the tea. Here's my plate. Let you look at my pie too. I'm going to taste of that for y'all. And there's my dessert. That's crushed pineapple and organic bananas and my iced tea. Yeah, so let me tell you about the little cherries. The jar said that it contained 31. And of course, so I bought it because I thought that's the right amount. And but it actually probably contained more like 60, but they were small. And those are the ones I put in the chocolate-covered cherries. But anyway, so Mr. Bucky is having those because we're trying to get rid of them. All right, so there's the plate. Now I'm going to taste of this for y'all, so let me put the camera back up on the stand so I can taste of it for you. All right, we'll be back in just a second. All right, y'all always want me to taste of whatever I cook, and I have not tasted of this before, so we're going to give it a taste. I'll taste of my little pad pie. It's not too hot. Still very hot. There it is. Giving it a taste. One more little bite. Well, first off, that meat is very good. This is the organic grass-fed ground beef that's, better get a drink of tea. Okay, it's the grass-fed organic meat from Walmart. And it is very similar to the acorn squash, except maybe a little sweeter. And here's the other thing. When we did the acorn squash, we also put honey and a little brown sugar in there. And I didn't really want to put any sugar in this. I was hoping it would be good without it, and it is. But you could put a little sprinkle of brown sugar on the sweet potato part, and you might even put a little honey. it'd still be good, and it'd still be more like a savory dish, really. But anyway, it's quite good, y'all. All right, y'all, we will see y'all next time. Bye for now.